figured we'd start with this.
This is not a medical advice show. For medical advice, consult your own physician. Dr. Mike, Dr. Joe, to the microphones. Stat. Welcome to Off Call, the show where medicine gets real, raw, and ridiculously funny. Broadcasting straight from the front lines of Los Angeles hospitals, these two are here to share the stories you won't find in textbooks. Whether you're a pre-med dreaming of the white coat, a resident surviving on caffeine, or a seasoned doctor needing a good laugh, Off Call is your prescription for a dose of irreverent, no-holds-barred humor. So scrub in and let's dive into the wild world of medicine, where the stories are true, the laughs are real, and nothing is off limits. This is Off Call. Now your hosts, Dr. Mike and Dr. Joe.
Nothing is off limits, huh?
Nothing. Welcome to episode 6.
Why did you wax your eyebrows?
I didn't wax them.
You begged for it, though.
My angry wife did. We're having a little bit of a quibble, as married couples do. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Can you wax my eyebrows? We got a show tomorrow. And then she took off a big piece right here. She's like, that's what you get.
So if he looks angry, it has nothing to do with his actual...
She was going to take off a whole eyebrow. And it was over a coaster.
It's your problem, man. You're the one who fought that fight.
We don't got to get into it, but let the record show.
You lost.
She moved my drink.
Come on, man. You fight everything. Every mound is worth fighting for.
I die on every hill.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm insufferable to live with. But anyway, I'm like, okay, can you just wax my eyebrows?
Your wife's a saint.
I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Is it noticeable?
Yeah, man, you look terrible.
Let's do a close-up.
Horrible, man.
What do you think? Did she do a good job?
She did a good job of messing you up. That's for sure. You should have used the coaster, and now you'll learn. And that's really what it comes down to.
Well, this is my house. I could use a coaster if I want, or maybe not.
She's not going to listen to this. I hope
she's not. Nobody's listening.
That's the best.
Should we
part
read
about
some
this.
bad comments?
That's the best part about this. We have another bad comment?
Dude, the internet is a cesspool.
Honestly, Ed, please come on the podcast. I would love to have
listen
you.
To the last episode.
Even if you come to hate on us and kill us, I would love to hear it. Honestly, you could beat us up.
He seems like a nice guy. It's our first negative comment.
He's a troop. We love our troops.
Yeah, the last one was for the troops. This episode, Mexican Independence Day.
That was yesterday.
Was it? I thought it's today.
I think it's yesterday.
All right. Well, I guess it's not Mexican Independence Day anymore.
God.
But anyway, yeah, we only got a couple other bad comments. We'll do a comment of the week. The comment of the week today.
It's only bad comments? So that's what I'm saying.
No, there's good comments. People want more. They're like, why are you guys late? I'm like, oh,
that's pretty good.
We're at 7 lives.
Yeah.
No, there were just a couple bad comments of when I put a clip on Instagram saying like you guys said don't get sick in July, and everyone's like, oh my God, let them like train and let these new students just leave them alone.
I mean, it's true. Leave them alone.
Yeah, we'll leave them alone.
Train. Let them train.
I was advocating for them. I'm like,
just I'm my concern. My concern is for the people,
for the patients,
for the people who are under supervision of somebody who has very, very superficial knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, they're learning, but nothing's going to happen in July.
It'll be fine. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
But it's true. We shouldn't mess with these people who are training in July.
Our comment of the week is from my mom. It's Joe's camera is blurry sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Let's see if Joe's camera is blurry. No, you just look really white.
How does your mom know how to comment on these? She's smart.
Yeah.
My parents would never even know how to get on the internets and the YouTubes and the computers.
Yeah. These lights are too harsh for your fair skin, Joe. Do you want to wear makeup? Let's just put some rouge on you. It's not gay. Just like
I
Put some blush.
I don't mind it. Honestly, if you would do that for me, I would appreciate it.
All right, Joe's gonna wear makeup next episode.
I would love it. This would be the best part of the entire series. Is just watching me in makeup. We'd get more viewers.
We're just gonna put more and more makeup on you every
time,
episode.
Every time.
Until you look like a clown.
I mean, not too far from.
So, people also wanted to know more about AUC. I went on the Reddit. They're like, we want to hear more. There's a lot of people going to Caribbean med schools.
Good school. Good school.
Is it?
I mean, come on. You have to work really hard to pass the classes because what they're good at is failing people out. What they're good at is failing a class and letting them slide through, paying another semester, and eventually saying, hey, after all this money you've spent, you're not capable of passing the step.
Do you think
that's how
their
they have
goal?
high? No, not the goal.
But it's just like the cherry on top.
But it's there.
It's there. There's a lot of people that leave the first week.
I mean, you're at 90 percentile for step 1 passing.
Yeah.
On day 1, I can tell you right now, day 1 of our experience, we can be honest, there was not 98% of that class that could pass step 1.
No,
No,
definitely not.
No. So that's how it's attrition, right? That's how they get you to, it's to separate the serious from the not so serious.
Yeah.
So it's a great school. You learn everything you need to, and you become really qualified physicians. But the attrition is important.
Yeah. I mean, people are also there. They're forced by their family, and they're like, I don't want to be here, and they leave. Not a lot of people. Not everyone fails out. Some people have other circumstances.
No, that's not what I'm
for
saying.
me.
Yeah. And some people fail one class and have to stay the semester behind. That's not an issue either. It's tougher financially, but it's not necessarily a grave mark on their resume or salary or career.
Yeah, just try to pass everything. You'll do fine. You're on the island for 20 months. Is it 20 months?
Dude, it's a good time every single month.
Yeah, it's
a
the best.
good time every single month.
Best time of my life.
You study hard. You get great gratification from, passing, and you have great gratification afterwards with everybody at the same time having their free time. Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, a class of 100 people all having the Saturday and Sunday off.
Yeah. It's awesome.
And young people, beautiful people.
You're on the beach.
Not like us. Don't look at us and say like this is typical.
We used to be good looking. Now we got married and had kids.
That's what we say.
Yeah.
That's what everybody who's not good looking says. I used to be good looking.
Yeah. We used to be cool too.
We used to be cool too. I used to be an astronaut.
Really?
No. But honestly, as long as we're saying things, I want to throw that in.
Okay, so going to the island, if that's your means of getting to be a doctor, then just do it. Just go in full force, enjoy it, pass every class, and then you'll be off in no time, and then you're going to miss the island.
I'll say it before and I'll say it again. The person you were in college, the 19-year-old you were in college, cannot define who you're going to be in the future. And that's really what the issue is with American med schools, DO programs, Caribbean schools, and that's what differentiates you. Maybe you're just a little bit more serious later in life, and that's completely fine. But at some point, you have to hunker down and learn and be serious. And if that takes you going to a Caribbean medical school before you realize that, that's fine.
Yeah, and there were a lot of older students there,
right,
like in 30s, even 40s.
Yeah, we had a 45-year-old that started with us.
I don't remember who that was.
I remember, but I won't say.
What was her first name?
John.
Well, John, if you're out there,
we'd love to have you.
We'd love to have you on there.
We're begging for
people.
people.
Do you regret your decision? And then you go to clinical rotations in the United States, and it's awesome. I was in New York. Joe was kind of in New York.
I was in New York.
And then Bakersfield.
And
that's also awesome. So how you succeed in your clinicals is basically don't be a dick. Just go in every day on time, wanting to learn, be nice to the residents, and then you'll
Be
do
present.
fine. Be
Be
present,
present.
ask questions, take on patients. Just you're there. You have nothing to do other than medicine in that time of your life.
That's right. That's right. And honestly, the people who do the worst are the ones who want to get out early.
Yeah. Have you ever had, now that you're an attending, have you ever had like a med student come by?
Recently. It was a favor to a friend of mine. He called me and he's like, hey, I have this friend of mine who's in med school who wants to get into residency. He's applying this cycle and needs a letter of recommendation, which should have been my first red flag. You've gone through this many years. You don't have the appropriate number of letter of recommendation. Why don't you take him, shadow him, and write him a letter? I said, okay, as a favor to you. And honestly, I didn't expect anything but a motivated medical student to appear. What I got was,
does he look like a bitch?
he did. He did. Yeah, so first thought was he did. That's good. Yeah, he came in looking like a bitch.
So was he eager? Was he?
No, it was the exact opposite. Like, not somebody who was looking for a letter of recommendation, somebody who was expecting a letter of recommendation. That's who I got. A med student who came in a couple times a week for an hour or two a day, even though you have a full day of work and missions, was not eager to be there. And I'm not eager to keep him. If you're ready to go, I'm ready for you to go too. And honestly, it was an eye-opening experience, because I don't think I'll do that ever again, is promise a letter of recommendation.
Really?
No.
So he just wasn't present?
That was the wrong way to approach this. What I should have done is said, okay, let him come. If he cares, if he's appropriate, then I'll recommend him, because I have an obligation to the field, not to patients, not to him.
Yeah.
And that was you learn. You learn.
Do you think he needs to shape up, or is he not going to be a good doctor in the future?
I couldn't say something that profound.
But he can shape up. He has potential.
Yeah, I couldn't say something that profound. And everybody's experience is different, and I saw him for a short period of time, so I can't really judge his character, and I won't make such profound statements. But when you're coming for rotations and your interest is to get a letter of recommendation, you should really try to push yourself. Be there, earn it, because the people who are writing those letters are very aware.
Yeah.
And my letters were all from people that I admired, and people that I worked really hard for, was there after hours. And I showed interest.
Yeah, you just show interest and then you'll do fine. That's how you succeed in clinical rotations.
It's important to know, like, your wellness is important, but there's a difference between wellness and like being there for 14 hours and being there for 2 hours. I don't expect you to be there for 14 hours.
Yeah.
Even half a day is fine for me, as long as you show interest. I don't want you to be there bored.
Learn some things. Present some things.
That's right. Yeah. Be involved. Try to gain something from it, and then show that your actual interest is in medicine and care. But yeah, I didn't feel that from him, and unfortunately, that's changed my.
So you wrote him the letter.
Well, I have residents, I have medical students that rotate under me, and unfortunately, because I promised it in the beginning, I was not going to take that back. I wrote him a letter, and I'm not going to write a letter unless I'm positive, and there's some qualities that I like about him, and he's a smart kid.
Yeah,
he's got good scores, so I touched on that, but otherwise I was not going to lie either.
Yeah, for me, I'm kind of the same. If they do the bare minimum and they show up, do everything, I'll write them a good letter, because I know
not eager to leave. That's really that was really my problem with him, is he was very eager to leave from a very early time.
Yeah, that's not cool.
The expectation was a letter of recommendation without, the interest. And fine.
Yeah. And then leaving is another thing. Once your attending says you can go, you should go.
Right.
You should say, hey, is there anything else? Do you want me to read up on anything? Blah, blah, blah.
I wouldn't even necessarily say that, because that's even more than you are expected to do. When they say you're okay to go, just go.
Yeah.
I think before that, you shouldn't be so eager.
Yeah. You shouldn't ask to go, I don't think.
Not every day.
Yeah, not every day.
No.
Like,
Every so
well,
often, yes.
It's about
Because
that time.
we do forget to like let you go.
Yeah, we do.
will like sit there, and I've had residents that are like that, where it's just still there at 5 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, come on, you guys can go. I forgot to let you go an hour and a half ago, just because I was just busy. But yeah, and that's fine. But if you've been there every day, you've never asked to go, and there's nothing going on, and you want to ask to go, I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah.
But if you're there every day asking to go,
That's
making
not
up a
cool.
different excuse every day, we know you don't have a dentist Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, your grandma didn't die.
Tuesday,
For the
Thursday,
third
Friday.
time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know when you're sick or not. That's another thing. People call in sick, and we know when
Yeah.
you're sick or not. You didn't just gain a severe flu-like symptoms overnight, and then come back the next day perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You can't come Monday, miss Tuesday, come back Wednesday looking just like you did on Monday. You didn't have the flu.
Yeah, you did not have the flu.
No.
Yeah, you're talking to a doctor here.
Yeah.
I even go to work now really sick, and the patient's like, "Are you okay? I mean, like maybe you should lay down in bed. We should switch places."
He doesn't even have to be sick for patients to think that.
Yeah. One time I had a fever and I was sweating talking to a patient, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this lady's gonna know I'm like sick." And I left early that day. My colleagues covered me, but I'm like, I still go in. I try to do everything, because when you call in sick, the load is going to someone else, and you don't want that. It's kind of like messed up. So there's always a code of like, if you could work or do everything, let it happen. And then if you're really sick, the people will pick up the slack. And you should pick up the slack for other people, because we
Yeah,
pay
you
each
never
other
know.
back.
That's right.
Yeah. I had this one intern when I was a senior that I feel the same way. I probably shouldn't have gave like glowing reviews. I just wanted him. He was like phoning. He was probably a second year. And he was like phoning it in, like doing half-assed like presentations of patients and like not really going through it. When I'm a senior, I'm like, just give me a full H&P one time, just so I know you can do it.
Right.
He just like wouldn't do it. He had anger issues. He was like, he was like, oh my God, you're asking me to do it. Cause I was like the cool resident. I'm like, I'm cool, but
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
what you want to be at all times.
No.
Cool resident, Mike.
no,
That's what you strive for.
no. And I'm like, just give me a full presentation one time, just so I know you could do it in your assessment, that you're thinking of the right things and everything like that. You just like couldn't do it. He was all over the place. I'm like, just by the end of this rotation, just give me something where where you could do well. And then now he's a doctor.
I've come to realize that that's why older physicians and older attendings don't have that same tolerance, don't have those same promises, because they've had these experiences.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, you're trusting
Yeah.
too early,
Yeah. Too early. I mean, he was whatever.
dude.
He
It's
was
hard.
doing it.
It's hard. Medicine is not easy, and I completely get it. If 1 week you're off, or 2 weeks you're off, even a month you're off, like you're just not in the mindset of, taking care of somebody else, because you're so worried about taking care of yourself, or, something's going on in your family. That stuff cannot be consistent.
Yeah.
That has to be once in a while.
Yeah.
The words. Those
So-
words.
When you have residents now that are working, like do residents rotate through? And
They rotate through the ICU. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're, for the most part, I'm impressed by, their diligence.
Mhm.
And then every so often, obviously, you're going to have the poor residents, and you have the ones that shine.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the poor residents.
You don't. Or you want to at least like correct the mistakes that you've been making, and then show up the next day like it's a new day, and we're gonna work and do that. You could always redeem yourself.
I don't think some of these poorer ones will ever redeem themselves. I think they're
Really?
consistent. I think they're consistently poor. Yeah, I think that's every time I have an issue with a resident, I don't voice things very often because it's ICU. I don't expect them to be, absolutely I don't expect them to be fluent,
Yeah.
but engaged at least somewhat, right?
Yeah.
And when when they don't reach that at least standard of engagement, it's oftentimes that those are the same people that have not had engagement throughout their rotations.
Yeah.
It's not that one who's engaged in every single other rotation and then this one they decide not to be. And if that's the case, then that's perfectly fine. I mean, like I said, you can have months and weeks that you're off, but it's never that. It's always the same thing.
Yeah. How do you deal with procedures with new residents?
I let the ones who are engaged actually try.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to pass down skills. You have to pass down procedures. That's how I learned them.
Yeah.
They have to learn them too.
Yeah.
So you always get patient family consent before you do that. But I also make sure that they're very well aware of the steps, have seen it before, have seen it before again, and then are able to dictate it through before they even do, the next step. Hey, I'm about to inject, lidocaine, and I'm standing there and watching. It's not like I don't know what they're doing, but I want them to, be able to, verbalize it. And I'm completely okay with that. Even intubations, which is like, some of the more acute procedures, I'm okay with as long as families and patients are okay with. And those are for the stable intubations, more stable intubations, not the ones that are like saturating 72% prior to, and like
they're getting bagged and
then pressures are dropping and maybe their heart rate is dropping a little bit. Then I'm not putting residents in that situation. But some that you can see are not necessarily protecting their airway, but very much breathing, ventilating, oxygenating. But we're intubating for a low GCS. Those ones, I find that residents are very well capable of taking their time.
Do you have residents that just completely mess up?
I mean, yes, almost every single one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not like harmful because I'm there.
Yeah, they intubate the esophagus.
Yeah, and again, I'm there. And
Yeah.
anytime I intubate with a resident, it's with a some sort of videoscopy.
You don't let them do direct?
No, I only do direct by myself. I don't let them do direct. Never have I have. CMAC, McGrath.
I love the McGrath. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, those two, you can use DL technique, and that's kind of why I like those two. You can use the DL technique so the residents can kind of get used to that DL technique. But also I'm able to see where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also ET tubes with cameras on the tip.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, those are fairly new. We had them during fellowship, and that was another resource we use for teaching. Not for like an attending level, anesthesiology or anything like that. Don't use those sort of ET tubes, but it's great for teaching because it's where you are.
I never seen the tube with a camera. I just
The
use
tube has a camera on the
McGrath.
end, with a little fiber optic light.
Really?
Yeah. You get really beautiful picture of where they are, where they're going.
Yeah. And
that-
gladoscope is just too easy.
And the same mistakes. So that's the thing. You can predict every resident's mistake because they all make the same mistake.
Yeah.
The first couple of times, right? I'm not saying every resident's bad because there's a lot of residents that do really well with procedures.
Yep.
But the mistakes seem to be the same every time, and I always coach them through before they start that don't tilt back, don't go too anterior, and they'll still do it.
Yeah.
It's just natural.
Have you ever had anyone crack their teeth?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
I've done it myself too, and it's terrible. I had a cancer patient who was very emaciated, whose teeth was already like rotted and malnourished, and really probably would have been better without the tube whatsoever because she eventually died.
Yeah.
A couple of days later, stage 4 cancer and untreatable and nothing.
She's like, but what'd you do to my teeth?
Yeah. No, it was, it was life or death. And, her tooth cracked without very much force. And honestly, it wasn't from, I don't think it was from technique. I think it was just like your teeth were just that fragile. But I've had it happen to me. I've had it happen with residents before in the past when I was in fellowship, but never as an attending.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had anyone place a central line in the carotid artery?
I actually had in fellowship. They called me twice in a week because our cardiology fellows also are somewhat or fully critical care trained. So they're expected to actually. I mean, obviously, a cardiologist, they're expected to be able to Selinger technique into any vein or artery.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, not the carotid, but. I had in 1 week 2 calls from the cardiology fellows saying the same guy first put a central line in the carotid,
mm-hmm.
and then a few days later put a dialysis catheter in the carotid.
Oh.
Yeah. Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. And both times I said, you need to let vascular surgery know.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they called back and said vascular surgery, hung up on me.
Oh, no.
I said, okay, you need to take it out and then put pressure on it for an extended period of time, particularly that HD catheter.
Yeah.
So when I went around to do my rounds and stuff, I stopped by the patient, stopped by him, and it's just blood everywhere. And I told him, you need to hold pressure for longer than a few minutes. This is like an hour-long pressure, hour and a half pressure. Stand there. Take your time. This is not something and you have to be a little bit more proximal to where you poked from the skin.
Yeah.
Like you're standing, you're holding the site at which you poke, but you're where you actually entered the vessel is far more proximal.
Yeah.
So after I taught him that, I put on Harry Potter and I said, once Harry Potter finishes, you can let go.
He was watching it while he was holding pressure.
Yeah, he watched it. I mean,
Busted.
Joe doesn't know what I have on my hotkeys right now.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You're getting some good ones.
All right. I'm going to get some good ones. Don't worry. Okay. So back to the island. Joe's going to be on his phone right now. When we, they do some training on the island of like placing IVs and stuff, but I haven't placed an IV since residency.
On the island, we paste IVs in each other.
Yeah.
That's how we learn.
Oh yeah. And I went through and through on someone.
Oh man.
I'm like,
I torturous. I turned that catheter in somebody's subcutaneous tissue when I first tried it.
No, it's the worst. And then we learned how to suture on the island.
Yeah. And honestly, I still use those suturing techniques to this day.
Yeah. It's pretty good on there. So, I mean, we get a lot of questions of like, what's it like at AUC? They do have a lot of resources and they'll teach you anything you want. You just got to be involved. And
when we were on the island, we had professors at even Johns Hopkins. We had a professor that was from Johns Hopkins. We had an immunologist who was one of the pioneer immunologists, actually incredible research on, I think, T cells, right?
Yeah, something like that. They just want to vacate. They just come to teach medicine and live on a beautiful island.
Yeah, that's right. Because it has nothing to do with the fact that it's half of it is because I'm on a beautiful island living a glorious life.
Yeah,
I mean, imagine that.
I think I'm gonna do it. Do the small groups.
You're not. You have family here, man. You're not going anywhere.
When I'm an empty nester, I'm just gonna go there, go to all the best party spots. Where was your favorite place on the island to party?
Oh man, wherever you were. Yeah, it was wherever we went. I mean, we had a group of about eight people that we were very close with, and we just had fun if it was at each other's houses. We had fun if we were at a bar or a club, casino, wherever we were. We had a great time. Definitely not a particular place, but always with the company.
Yeah.
That's what's going to change your experience. I'm not going to tell you to go to this bar because it's going to change your life. You need to find your group. You need to find your friends.
Exactly.
I mean, we're still family to this day. A lot of us are,
Yeah, and we're gonna have them on the podcast. A couple of them are coming.
all of us have kids now.
I know it's the worst. Don't have kids. Just kidding. But we all want to go to back.
It's true. I mean, we went. Every single one of our friends were single
Yeah,
when we started,
yeah,
and then married soon after residency, soon after med school. Some of them, and then after that, I mean, every one of us have kids.
one of our friends got someone pregnant on the island.
That's right.
Yeah,
Living a beautiful, happy life with 4 kids now.
I thought they had like 9 kids. They just keep multiplying.
It might be 9. It might be 9.
Yeah, all boys.
Oh, boys. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what's funny is he is one of 4 boys himself.
yeah,
So he only has Y.
yeah. And now we keep making fun of him. He went back to fellowship to do cardiology.
After years of internal medicine outpatient work.
Yeah, his wife's a pediatrician, so he is
She's
back.
in psych now.
Oh,
Pediatric
really?
psychiatry.
Oh,
She
I
did
didn't know that.
fellowship and she's doing that. Yeah.
Why would he just go back?
He's a educational pursuit guy. He's a reader.
Yeah. I think he wanted to be a radiologist. He's the one that failed step 2 CS, the one where you had to go in person.
Yes.
And he's like a normal, like,
Born in America.
he knows English.
South.
It's so hard to fail.
Yeah.
I don't think they have this test anymore.
Because everything they told us about CS was like, all you need to do is speak English.
So
and you
what
can pass.
CS is here's your CS day. It's a board exam, but it's in person, and there's patients that are actors, and you go in there, and they're filming the whole thing, and you go from room to room, and you see these patients. They could be there for anything: a broken bone, they could be sick, or
You
whatever.
start by reading a little like paper chief complaint and then basic physical. And then you walk in and you just do your questions and you do your like superficial physical exam. And then from there you come up with diagnosis, differentials, and some bit of a plan.
Yeah.
And the idea is like, hey, you have a thought process. You don't necessarily have to be right, but the process has to be at least I don't know,
Coherent? Like,
Coherent?
yeah, just anything.
something that's within the realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you can fail that.
Everyone passes except him. And I want to see the tape of why he failed, because it's so easy to pass.
We'll
It's
bring him on.
Yeah, there's like, you get points for going in and washing your hands or like sanitizing.
Also, caveat to this, super smart guy.
Yeah,
Very smart guy.
one
very
of our
well.
smartest friends.
Yeah, one of our smartest friends. Very well versed in not just medicine, but just in like basic politics, social settings. I mean, he's just a genius when it comes to social settings.
Yeah,
I love him to death. Incredible how he could fail something like that.
yeah.
Maybe it's just how you go into it.
He was probably like, "All right, what's
All
the
right, yeah,
problem?
no
What-
problem.
What is it?"
Yeah, I'll take care of it. No problem.
Yeah. And then some of these actors, they're angry or mean, or they try to throw you off your game.
Yeah.
But I had easy ones, and one lady.
That's been your life, Mike. You've just had an easy life.
Yeah, I've been coasting. No, one lady tried to get crazy with me. I like examined her. I think she came in for shoulder pain or something like that. And I'm like, all right, now I'm going to do the physical exam. And then I was on the wrong shoulder.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's not the shoulder that hurts. I'm like, oh, I'm just seeing what's normal first.
Yes.
And I'm like, I totally saved it.
Nice
'Cause I
save.
was examining the
Because
wrong
you should
shoulder.
also check the other shoulder too.
Yeah. And
Look
then
at
she's
you.
like, oh, okay. And then, yeah, we passed. And it's a whole day. And like, there's like 5 sites around the country. Well, I guess this is moot.
My
'cause-
God, how nervous are those exams? My nerves are like on another level.
Oh, test days, board
Ugh,
test days. Like
ugh.
you're studying so much, and then
You
you're
spend so
amped
much
up.
of your life, so many hours, so many.
Yeah.
I can't come. I can't do that. I
Yeah.
can't do anything for months at a time.
Yeah, MCAT was probably the hardest exam, but once you're out of there, that's the test to get into medical school, and then there's 3 tests while you're in med school.
Well,
which
now
is-
step 1 is pass, no pass. Back in our day, it was scored.
yeah, that's crazy because that was a very hard exam.
And that was really what differentiated our med students. And that's what they used to say, hey, you're a candidate for this residency or not. It was step 1 exam, not so much step 2. But now it's based off step 2, right?
Yeah. Step 2, you have a score, I believe.
Yeah, you still do now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same scoring.
But I remember test days, my dad would make me breakfast. Your nerves are going crazy, like everything's hinging on this test. And you go into these testing centers and you just sit there for hours and hours, and you take your own breaks and you bring snacks, and it's just a horrible day. And you get out of there, you're drained from taking this exam.
Oh man, I was drained before I even started.
Yeah, well, that's not a good way
I
to go
highly
in.
recommend not studying the day before the exam. I highly recommend that's the day you do nothing.
That was my technique that I figured out in med school. I would stop studying at 6 p.m. the night before the exam and watch a movie
Yeah.
to get my mind off things.
That's
And
right.
that helped me so much.
Yeah.
And my roommates were studying so hard, and they're like, "How are you doing that?" I'm like, "I just need to get my mind off it."
That's right.
And if I'm going to study for 5 more hours and maybe get one more question right,
The material is too much for that extra 2 hours to make a difference on your score, but your mindset can.
yeah.
Yeah. Do whatever works for you, but I highly recommend, especially if you're a nervous person, is shutting it off.
Yeah. Just, you need to go in calm. Stress doesn't let you think straight.
I wish we were funnier.
I know. We could talk about the drama at AUC right now.
Let's talk about drama at AUC. Let's talk about something
The
less.
power has been going out nonstop. One of the generators on the island.
Really? Right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
The one of the generators on the island is not working. So there's
What about the anatomy
blackouts.
lab? That's just like a...
So people are like without power for extended periods of times, and then they're like saying, "We didn't pass the comp because we didn't have power on
Beer's
this island."
getting warm.
Yeah. And it's like Lord of the Flies there.
Oh, yeah. I didn't pass the comp because the power went out.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I guess.
I know. And then there's like this message board or there's a way to communicate between all the students. It's called like Yak or something like that. And then the deans were impersonating students saying like, "No, it's great here." and
That's
something
awesome.
Like that. They're like, "That's a dean on there." And they figured it out. And there's like a coup and there's like a
That's so
new
good.
dean there. It's really crazy.
Oh, my God. That is Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
That is nonsense.
So they're not even
Is
going
that true?
So I think the campus has its own generator, but everyone that lives off
We're
campus,
about to get sued because we're just...
whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone off campus doesn't have powers for like 6 hours a day, and it's hot. They don't have air conditioning.
Oh, that's
and
horrible.
it's like they're like, "We can't study in these conditions." And then there's the other side on Reddit. I learned this all on Reddit. They're like, everyone's just being like, they're just complainers, and
Yeah, right.
they weren't going to pass the comp anyway.
Anyways, right.
So the comp is the exam you take to get off the island before you take step 1.
So what have they done to rectify?
So GB is the electric company on the island, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
they were working around the clock to build this new generator, and I think the school itself has its own generator, so everyone's
They have
been
gas generators.
been coming to campus to do their work and everything like that.
Oh.
That's it. That's the drama. At
But what
AUC.
about the comp that they,
So people didn't pass, and they're like, "It's because I couldn't study," and so they want like their money back from the school. It just I feel like it's them trying to find an out to why they didn't pass the comp.
But I'm on their side.
You would be on their side,
I mean, anything.
anything. But passing the comp was one of the greatest days ever. It was the best party after that.
Yeah, that was the end of the
Yeah.
end of the biggest stressful time. Step 1 was not as stressful as comp.
Yeah. I think we talked about it before, but I thought I did bad, but I actually did well. And I was moping around. I didn't want to party with anyone until we got the scores back.
It's just mopes around. It's just baseline.
Yeah.
It's a moper.
I'm just a moper.
The mopes around the hospital.
Yeah. If we all went back to St. Martin together, all our friend group,
Yep.
where are we hitting up first?
It's got to be a beach, I guess.
I think it would be Mullet Beach.
Yeah, I think it would be the beach.
Best beach in the world. It's the beach right next to campus. After every block exam, we all hang out there. You can drink openly. You can go swimming. We played football a bunch on the beach.
I don't think I've been to a more beautiful place, or I absolutely don't have the memories at another place
Yeah.
that I do from Mullet Beach.
Yeah, it was the best place.
Oh.
And then we're going to get Hong Fo wings.
Wow, I can't believe you remember that name. Are they still there?
I don't know, but the best,
We used to
it's
eat
a
wings
Chinese
with our
food
kids.
place.
Yeah.
It had spicy wings.
Oh,
And we would just
oh.
order plates and plates of this and go
Yeah.
to town.
Yeah.
Joe, there was a rib night on the island. I've never seen anyone eat more ribs
Back
than
in
this
those
guy.
days, I used to be morbidly obese.
Not more. He was just jolly. And this guy, it was all you could eat or ribs.
Yeah, I used to stop out of pure embarrassment.
Yeah, he was just he would still eat. He was like, I want to eat more, but you guys are making fun of me and I'm not going to eat any more. It was literally like 5 cows worth of ribs.
It was inhumane.
Yeah, I know. And they're like, Joe's back. We need to get more ribs out of here.
They hated me.
Yeah.
They hated me. They knew me.
Like this guy's
He used to play Jimmy Buffett the entire time.
Yeah, I was at a
It was a
random
Jimmy
hotel.
Buffett concert that was just playing like looped.
Yeah.
That hotel had a pretty bad horror story.
What?
You didn't hear about that one?
No.
It's possible it's not true, but it probably is.
It's probably true.
It's probably true, but possible it's not.
This is the drama.
But there was a hotel guest that was killed with a chainsaw.
Really?
Yeah, at that hotel.
Wow.
Yeah,
What led up to that?
it was some involvement. There was a pretty strong gang presence as well as mafia presence in Mullet and that whole area.
Yeah. Because there's a
And it
casino
was-
there.
Yeah, and it was a dispute.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know the details of it, but chainsaw murder, I can't imagine.
Wow.
Yeah.
So where's the best place to live on the island?
I lived in Puerto Cupocoi. Beautiful,
Yeah.
magnificent, comfortable. Just none of the, you're not roughing it.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
It was like a luxury condo.
Yeah. If anything, I've never lived in a more beautiful place in my entire life. Still to this day, it's the best place I've ever lived.
Yeah, you got a view of the bay.
Ocean,
People can pull up their yachts right to their condo.
beach pools,
Yeah.
gym. I mean, underground parking. Forget about it.
Yeah.
German windows that were like
They could-
enforced for like Hurricane
Yeah.
5 winds.
You could survive the hurricane. I was in Simpson Bay.
Yeah, you had
Which-
the best place of all of us, and this is not something I can even recommend because it's probably
Yeah.
only one that you
Yeah.
can rent, but that was the place.
We had a house on the beach, me and my roommates, and it was an old house, but we definitely weren't ready for the hurricane. There was like water coming in under our doors and everything like that, but we were right on the water.
But
Right.
every other day was the most beautiful
Most
day.
beautiful thing. You open your door,
Forget about it. You have survived the hurricane with water coming out of the door, but every other day was like the best place in the entire island to live.
Yeah.
I mean, on the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
on the ocean, on
would-
the beach. Nowhere else in the world like that.
Every day at 4:00, it was me time. I would exercise. I would run on the beach, take a kayak out. I would go
It was
snorkeling.
private too. It wasn't
Yeah.
like there was tourists or anything there.
Yeah,
it was
no
just
one
you
on my beach. And I would,
on my beach. Look at this guy. Listen to this guy.
I know.
Yeah.
And I became friends with the gangs in Simpson Bay.
Yeah.
There was a car wash down the street. Shout out to the twins. They hooked me up. I think we told the story. My bike got stolen and they brought it back. It was my motorcycle, not a bicycle. And they brought it back and they looked out for me. Our landlord told them, like, look out for these med students. Like, don't mess with them. And like the old gang member was down the street and he was cool with us.
Yeah, but you guys weren't that cool.
No, we weren't. They just didn't mess with us.
No, you guys were pretty cool.
But I would take my kayak out so far and like explore the coast of the island. And there was like this little tiny island, probably like 100 yards. And I would like try to go through these little canals of it. I'm like, looking back, that was so dangerous because sometimes it would be big waves and I could have got beached and like thrown on this island.
I would have laughed.
Yeah, I know. You guys would have laughed. Like, Mike's gone. He got really hurt.
He got beached on an island.
Yeah.
It would have been the funniest thing.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to roast a personal statement?
Do we have time? How far are we in?
We're 45 minutes.
Okay.
Do you want to do it or no?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, this is from, let's see what they said.
He or she, so I can use the right pronouns.
She.
Okay.
She's like, hey, please roast my personal statement. I love to hear your guys' feedback. I'm applying this cycle. I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's see.
Let's see if we know where you're going with this.
Let's see. I had the unique privilege of knowing my desired specialty when entering medical school, thanks to life experience following my 2005 bachelor's degree. Do you think that's a good hook?
Not yet.
No. There needs to be something that just draws in the reader right there. Truthfully, I was afraid to pursue medical school in my 20s. My interests were so diverse it felt impossible to choose what I wanted to be, and be for some reason is in quotation marks. And committing a huge personal investment to a field I may not love seemed too daunting. Instead, I endeavored to work in all fields that intrigued me, and my various jobs brought me indelible experiences: veterinary technician, diner, cardiovascular valve researcher, crime scene investigator. These jobs taught me the importance of empathy, conscientiousness, attention to detail, and the most important quality of all, passion. That's the first paragraph.
Nope.
It's all over the place. I think there needs to be a cohesive things. And I wouldn't say like starting out, you don't know.
First three sentences were filler. The
Yeah.
last sentence was like trying to throw in what you've done, your experiences,
Yeah.
without any sort of
There needs to be some
elaboration.
cohesiveness. And I don't think you should start out by saying, I don't know if I want to be a doctor.
Well, it's also okay, fine. You
Unless
want to
she
start
saves
that, but
it.
that needs to be first sentence most, but not
Yeah.
3 sentences of it.
Okay, it wasn't until the week I turned 30 that I found the career that ignited my passion. The medical examiner's office was fast-paced and dynamic with mentally challenging and stimulating cases. It had been on my dream job shortlist as a kid, born from the love of solving crimes with my dad and an investigator and examining things under my birthday present microscope. And then
Just glancing over a lot,
yeah, there's a lot of run on.
but just glancing over things that you can just elaborate a little bit on. I
Yeah.
don't think you should just glance over such. I mean, just pick one thing and kind of stick with it, elaborate on it.
Yeah.
Your personal statement is not supposed to be your entire resume, not everything you did. It's supposed to be like more important things that you can elaborate on in one page.
Yeah, they have your CV. This is really to know who you are as a person.
Yeah.
All right. I was excited in a way that I could not recall ever feeling for a job, especially at 5 a.m. as a self-proclaimed night owl. I wanted to be there, she said Long's hour, meticulously examining and excising specimens and recording findings, semicolons, sore hearts and backs that were worth it. I have no idea what that meant. This obviously needs another read through or someone by a professional. The office was filled with welcoming doctors with a propensity for teaching whose contagious enthusiasm for unusual pathologies would halt all proceedings in a huge autopsy suite so everyone could observe.
I don't even know where we
I don't know where we are.
No.
I don't know where we're going.
And it's nothing personal to you. I'm sure you're brilliant and a good person, a good human being, but I don't know where we are. I had no idea where we started and how we got here.
Yeah,
I have no idea what setting we're even in right now.
Yeah.
We're autopsy.
I guess. I raced after my mentors from the suite to the microscope room, watching them zoom around histology slides to glimpse the answers sought in fighting kinetosis to learn why. Imagine the distinction I felt when these same extensive trained physicians sought my opinion for complex cases and openly encouraged me to become a pathologist. They wanted me as a colleague and their inspiration, coupled with my newfound passion, charted my course to medical school. Okay, so she wants to be a pathologist. That should be a little bit earlier. I guess if she's only applying for pathology, maybe they understand that this is where she wants to be. Telling other students I love histology during class made me an outlier, but they seemed a lifetime younger, and I could not disclose certain delicate topics that made me love forensic pathology as well. I find beauty in careful incisions, stains, patterns of cells, even the wear whiff of formalin. The histology reinforces my fascination with all beautiful things from miniature to microscopic, from my professional life to my artistic endeavors. My creative outlet passion project is a series of parody dioramas of life's trivialities embodied by a 1974 Batman action figure. Are you following?
I'm trying.
I meticulously craft each miniature out of polymer clay, studying the life-size version while sculpting. Okay, I guess she sculpts dioramas. Each diorama component, the background, the account treatments, and sundries of daily life, the body language conveyed through endless toy repositioning, is scrutinized and chosen for the scene I photograph in forced perspective. Crafting these scenes has given me a conscientiousness for intricate attributes and joy in recognizing their conveyance of meaning in the final piece. My love for the meticulous in art started with photography and now vintage 110 film camera. But I learned the technical skills needed to express myself artistically during my time as a crime scene investigator. So this is all over the place. I think she should start out with the diorama stuff at the beginning.
That first paragraph needs to go because I don't even know what that has to do with the rest of this.
So that can be the hook and be like, okay, this person has a passion for dioramas, blah, blah, blah. How is she going to tie this in to pathology? So
take out so many adjectives, adjectives.
Everyone thinks you need to be like eloquent, and it just needs to be easy to read.
You want the reader to be able to understand that you're being eloquent, or the precision of building a whatever figure.
Yeah,
you don't need to use those adjectives so often.
Yeah, because
it's difficult.
You're gonna get someone reading this that has a million things to read, and they're delayed. They're at lunch or something like that. They want to get to the point, know who you are.
Yeah, tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't need to know what you felt and what you learned.
Crime scenes can become overwhelming very quickly. Aside from being starkly confronted with mortality and the depths of wickedness in your day-to-day, there are myriad unconsidered steps to collecting a lot of evidence. It's essential to strategize and remain organized because you must document all activities and findings and notes, consider legal documents in the face of hundreds of items of evidence. That just needs a revamping. That everything
that you just said could be said in like a few words.
Yeah. Photographic documentation, marking evidence, dusting and lifting fingerprints, swabbing for DNA, exhaustion breaks, even drawing had to be coordinated and run by the lead on the scene.
It doesn't sound as daunting as you think it sounds.
Yeah. It's immense pressure holding that weight, knowing that your job performance decides fates of many others, like a ripple effect from your responsibility to diligence outward. My work held other lives in my hands, my observations and my reasoning. This job nurtured the uncommon, fastidious observer in me while cultivating the relevance and empathy I hold for all the lives my work touches.
I think she's probably, and again, nothing personal, I think she's probably a very smart person. I think she's just having a hard time putting it into something that's clear and concise. Too much.
Too much all over the place. I've been preparing myself to become an excellent pathologist this entire...
There's still more.
Yeah, there's still more. And your personal statement should just be one page. The entire I don't know this word. Circuitous journey of my professional life. My passion for pathology is palpable to those around me. A buzz of excitement vibrating off of me while spinning urine down for microscopy during clinicals. It is reflected in my more macabre art that restores the unique beauty of broken Victorian figures by adding pathologic anatomy. It is in the earnestness that I try to recruit my medical school friends to the field, knowing it offers an amazing work-life balance and ability to blend the strings of fate with wits, diligence, care, and correct diagnosis. Pathology is why I'm here, and I humbly ask that you allow me the opportunity to reach beyond my limits for my passion's potential.
A lot.
It's a lot. It needs a lot of work. You just need to have a concise view. I think start with the dioramas and then tie that in, and half of this...
Exclude a lot of the details of what you were doing.
Yeah. Show your passion through the dioramas and tie that into pathology. Get someone professional and hire them to do this personal statement all over again.
Yeah, I think you know what you want to say. It's just not coming off here.
Yeah.
It won't hurt you. It won't hurt you. I don't think anybody will read this and say, hey, this is not a good person, or this is somebody that... It's just somebody who's just not clear and concise in a personal statement. It's not somebody who doesn't have experience or somebody who's not worthwhile of having to your residency. I just think it's like something difficult to read. I would read that entire thing and say, I have no idea. Let's just go by the interview, because I have no idea what you said.
Yeah. I think it needs a lot of work. Back to the drawing board, kind of restructure it, be more eloquent, not eloquent, but...
Less on the details of what you did, more on the, what you've learned.
Yeah.
Less adjectives.
How you made an impact.
Significantly less adjectives.
All right, that's all the time we have today.
This has been Off Call, the show where medicine gets real, raw, and funny. Dr. Mike, a hospitalist with a knack for internal medicine, and Dr. Joe, the intensivist who's always in critical condition of cracking jokes. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hit us up on Instagram at offcallpod. And for questions or comments, send an email to offcallpod@gmail.com. See you next time on Off Call. This is not a medical advice show. For medical advice, consult your own physician.